Alright, so we're out here on location. Gotten some great videos, some excellent photo reference. Plenty of stuff for the studio. Now I'm just going through and doing some quick sketching, just some things that are catching my eye. Things that might make some good drawings there. I'm looking for good composition, great composition. That's what really makes a landscape pop. That's what really draws your eye in and leads you across. And as you pan out around here, you're going to see a couple barns. You're going to see in between there some nice landscape in the back. You got some excellent fencing. Even the barrels here up front add a lot of character. You got the old water spigot there. Just a lot of character here along with the fence line. And I do like the shapes of these two barns here, but what I'm looking for is that negative space here in the middle. That negative space is what's really going to set a piece like this off. So, for instance, if you're looking at this barn here, I'll just do it small. I'm not looking to be exact at all. I'm just looking for placement. Details will come later when you're actually doing the final piece. But as long as I know kind of roughly where I'm at. So what I'm looking for here is that fence line that comes across. And then if you look at the arch coming down from the other barn there, that frames that up nicely. And it really makes your eye jump into the piece. It's kind of a dynamic look, really. This down across that part here of the barn. So now we're focusing on this negative space here that's created in between the two barns. So you got sort of the little heap of stuff there. You got the barrels that are here in front. And again, I'm not looking to be super accurate. I'm looking for placement. So this negative space here, this is what's going to lead the eye in. Okay, so this is what I'm focused on, is right in through here. So we have the tree that comes over top. We're going to have some trees showing through down here. We got a tree in the back. It's beautiful. And then we have our line, tree line going in the back there. That leaves a little bit of room for some clouds. Right? And then we have a nice composition, a nice framing. So this is the part right here that I'm focusing on. I'll leave myself a little note about negative space. So when you're looking at it in terms of framing, you got the barn here, it's a nice backdrop. But these barrels and this water spigot really add some character. And I really like what used to be. Alright, so I'm sitting here sketching out this little area here. I wanted to get a closer look at the barrels. I really like the way the barrels are looking. I like to certainly add to the barn because there are other straight lines, but there's definitely a lot of rectangular lines, straight-ish lines, and the circles really come in and they break that up nicely. So that's what I'm focusing in on, are the circles themselves down and through here. And like I said, I'm not doing anything super realistic, super perfect here. I'm looking at just what my eye is seeing, what my eye is putting together to make some great pieces. So I really like the way these barrels look. Again, I like the circles here. I'm even going to point out the circles in my notes. We got the water spigot here. Coming out of the ground. And you got the branches and stuff like that. You can notate all the foliage and moss and everything around it. This is a concrete slab here. If I'm focusing in on negative space here, I'm not going to focus in so much on these down here. But in a later drawing, I will certainly focus on these. So this is good to have as a separate piece. And like I said, not everything has to be all one piece. We can pick and choose parts for our drawings later on, whatever sings to us. Sometimes you have to look up. And if you look up, I've already taken a picture of this. This is probably a drawing I'm going to do. But I really like the tallness. And I like the dynamic lines coming down. Like so. On either side. We got the rest of the barn coming down this way. Okay. With the old wood, we got a nice window up here. Just a nice dynamic piece. Just by looking up. Again, I've already taken pictures of, so I don't have to worry about specific details. I'm just more interested in placement and how things can look. And I would also think about how the sky could fold up behind it, like maybe the clouds and stuff, because the clouds could maybe be coming up and going this way and just kind of forcing up, which really adds to the dynamics of the piece. So that's something to think about too. But we're looking at dynamic view. So I really like that. That to me creates a lot of energy. I could see that working really well with my charcoals on the canvas in the studio. So again, it just goes to show you want to look at everything. You want to walk around, take it all in. You want to look at shapes. You want to look at just every angle, really soak it in, and really take a look at the landscape, add it in. The entire environment counts. So let's go make some great pieces. Okay, so some other things you want to look at again that add character. Obviously, again, we got the barns as the backdrop. Beautiful farmland out here. Just gorgeous setup. But if you look at something like this, again, going with the circles, adding something different. There's a nice composition here with the broken wood, that fencing going back, and this barrel. And that's something that you can take note of. Right, so I'm just going to draw in this barrel. I really like how that barrel looks, how this wood comes across, this post comes up. So I really like the way this post looks. And I can start kind of shading in some of these. Don't have to have anything super exciting. I like the rust on the barrel. I can really work on the rust in details. Okay. Let's see. Got the tree limbs coming in down here. I can really hone in on the top. A lot of the wood in through here. There's a lot of character just in this broken wood. Just some things that artists see that sometimes other people miss. What other people might see is old, broken down, maybe garbage. Artists see as beauty. And so here we are, we got some beauty. Little bit of beauty out of this. Now again, I already snapped a photo of this, so I know, but this again tells me what I'm looking at and what I'm looking for. composition wise, I'm really focusing in on this area here. I could put in some of the grass behind it if I want. I can fade it. I can see this almost like a vignette as well, where you can just kind of shade all around. But I'm also going to put up here rust, because I want to focus on the rust. Okay. And that's for the details. And then of course we got the broken wood here. Even some of these branches coming up aren't too bad. They'll add some character in there. So again, this gives you an idea of how you can just make a simple, maybe even a vignette drawing out of something so simplistic. It's not just the barns, it's also the trees and the landscape and everything around it. And I really like the placement of these 3 trees right here. This is really nice. This would go well in any piece that I would want to use. So I got some great reference photos of the branches and everything and the trees. But again, I'm really looking at the composition. So I can really see like the triangle part of it, of these trees coming straight up like that. Bottom of the trees are down here like this. And then they're just kind of split up into 3s. And I'm focusing on the trunks here for these. And I'm looking at the space. Because remember, I talked about negative space. So what's in between these trunks is what's also going to be important. But they also frame the piece. The whole point here is just to show the space in between, show the trunks, show everything down here, right? And I'm focusing in on this stuff right in here. So this is part of my note taking, is I really like the way these look. Okay, now I can sit here and I can draw these trees all day, but like, and if you're taking notes, if you're doing things like this is what you want to focus on. So, you know, we'll circle these trunks. Again, we got negative space and tree trunks. And this way I know in my reference photos what to apply.